Happy Monday and welcome to a new week of creative potential, shall we say. I don't know what your creativity will come up with this week. I don't even know what mine will come up with this week, but hopefully something fun. So today we're going to scrapbook some cake and we're going to look at quadrant design, but kind of turn it on its head a little bit. I love a quadrant design for 6x6 boxes on a 12x12 page, but we're going to do that a little differently because this month we are focusing on B-sides of papers. And when I put the kit together, that's what I was looking at, was all the B-side patterns and all of those papers that are really, really versatile to use. They don't have a theme. They can go with anything. You're just looking at color, but yet it's not solid colors because just solid plain paper does not excite me. And I love the pattern. I love the little extraness it gives. I'm here for any sort of extra we can add to a scrapbook page. So that's it. That's what we're going to do today. Quadrant design, but a little different. So going over to the desk, we've made one page with this kit so far, and it was a little more minimal than I expected. I've had a little think this over the weekend about what I'm going to do to kind of fancy it up a little bit. This space to me still needs some work. So I'm going to come back to that. There's vellum here, but on camera you can barely even see it. It's really subtle. So yeah, I'm going to come back to this one a little bit, but that's okay. Not unhappy with it. And this is about finding a chef's kiss worthy vegan cinnamon roll. There we go. Right. So moving on from cinnamon rolls to cupcakes. Apparently February has a theme in my life, and apparently that is scrapbooking food. So I told you on Friday that it was bake sale day at school, and we all tried to work out how many batches of cakes I would get done. I did 7 dozen. However, 6 photos worked out for more balance, so I'm just scrapbooking 6 of them. The 6 prettiest. The 7th batch was not particularly cute, but they tasted nice. So the 7 dozen cupcakes I got done. Cookies and cream, chocolate cake with vanilla-ish icing and Oreos. One of 2 Lotus biscuit cakes. So this one had a vanilla base with Caramac in the cake, which is like butterscotch meets white chocolate, for those of you who live in parts of the world that don't have Caramac. A vanilla icing, a Lotus biscuit on top, and then drizzled in caramel sauce, salted caramel sauce. Good old plain vanilla funfetti type cake, because some kids, that's what they really love. It's just vanilla birthday cake, and I respect that because I could eat a good vanilla cupcake any day of the year. So yeah, vanilla. This was my vegan option this time, which was orange carrot cake with a faux cream cheese icing and vegan gummy hearts on top. This was WB's choice. This was red velvet, which I actually baked as a sheet cake and then cut into squares because I needed to double up the oven. I needed a sheet cake pan and a cupcake pan go at the same time. Then with the same faux cream cheese that's over here, the vegan gummies and Jammy Dodgers, which for those of you who don't live here, they're like vanilla sandwich cookies with red jam, like strawberry jam inside. And then this was the chocolate Lotus biscuit offering, which was a devil's food chocolate cake with vanilla and caramel frosting and a Lotus biscuit on top. So there we go. The other one that I didn't take a picture of was my gluten-free option, which was, it tasted really nice and it was gluten-free, but it's just not so photogenic because it was devil's food chocolate cake base with chocolate fudge frosting and chocolate sweets on top. So everything was just brown. It's not the cutest in the photos. So there we go. And all of that, 7 dozen cakes raised 252 pounds at the bake sale. But the best bit, oh my goodness, I ran late, just a minute or two. Because I thought I was getting a lift with somebody and I wasn't. So then I had to walk, which was fine. But it meant, so the school gets out at staggered times. Some of the classes get out at quarter past and some get out at 20 past. And so, oh, sorry, Jammy Dodgers are raspberry jam, not strawberry. You know, when I said it, I was wobbling. Thank you, Elaine, for putting me right. Raspberry jam. It's red, and anyway, red filling. So anyway, I wanted to be there for 3, even though the first class doesn't get out till 3:15, so that I could set up. And there were other people baking. It's not just me. So I was going to end up getting there at like 3:16, 3:17. So one of the classes would already have come out. And sometimes there are teachers who let the kids out a couple minutes early on cake sale day to try to dissipate the crowd. So when I realized I was going to be late, I sent a message to the class WhatsApp to say, I'm running a couple minutes late, but I am loaded up with cake, so please let there still be hungry people. And when I got there, a crowd of people who always buy my cakes had just put themselves in a corner of the playground to wait until I arrived. And when I put the boxes, they were taking the boxes out of my hand to put them on the table. They're just apparently my cake super fans. So that was adorable. Anyway, everything sold, and that was great. I never want to do it as a job, but I absolutely love it as a cake sale thing. And then my friend asked, has the school realized that you'll be gone in a year and a half and they need to find another baker? So I hope somebody takes my place and steps up to the plate. Okay, so that's what we're going to scrapbook today. And I'm going to keep all of these together like that. It's going to be one 4x6. So you could do multiple photos like this, or you could do one 4x6 landscape. Totally up to you. Now, you'll notice no white lines between the photos because I didn't do the selfie app. When you do the N up feature on the selfie app, it doesn't give you squares as an option. It gives you rectangles of assorted sizes and then puts the white lines between it. So this I did with the Project Life app. This version is just included in the Project Life app, no margins. If you want margins, you can get them in the Project Life app, but it's an add-on. So there you go. Just letting you know what's there. So we need 4 papers that we can cut into a 6x6 box. All right. So I am thinking we need some of the red to pull this red tone here. So we're going to have a red and pink kind of page. So we're going to have a 6x6 of that. Now this is the cut apart, isn't it? No, it's not. Okay, we can have both of those. And then we can have this pink. Yes. And one more. This one. Yeah. So let's have those 4. Hold on, what was that? Or is that just a border strip? Yes, that's just a tiny bit up there. Okay, so we're going to cut these 4 into 6x6 boxes to make a quadrant design that's going to be a little different to how I normally do it. Ha ha ha! Sarah uses pick frame, and that will give you squares and white margins if you want both. Excellent. Thank you. Right, so when we say quadrant design, what we usually mean looks like this. So here's my photo, and here's like a journaling box and a title and some embellishment like that. And then the background is this sort of thing because we have quadrants, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's what we usually mean by quadrant design, and it's a way to work with 6x6 papers or papers you have cut into 6x6. That's not what I'm doing today. Same sort of concept, but we're going to change it around. So let me do my speech, and then we're going to talk. The screen is looking very yellow today, and I'm not quite sure why. It looks like the papers are not too far off, but for some reason, Maleficent's looking really yellow. I don't want to mess with settings in the middle I'm not quite sure what's happened there. So if it's really bothersome, let me know. But I think just focus on the paper and we will be all right. Hi, my name's Shimelle. I teach online scrapbooking classes, design scrapbooking products, and help you use them to tell your stories in a creative way. It's not just my hobby, it is my job, and that means anytime I scrapbook on the internet, it's considered advertising, and legally I need to make sure you're aware of that. So thank you for coming to watch my hashtag advertising. I appreciate you being here, whether you are live, chatty, watch from Tomorrowland, quiet, craft, don't craft, thinking about coming back to craft, just found this and want to discover a new craft, we are here for you. You can find links to all the stuff I talk about in the description box below this video. That includes all the supplies I'm using this month and the supplies I'll use next month. So if you want to join in and scrap with me either in live time or watch and then go away and scrap, you could have a whole month full of instructional videos, so to speak, by either shopping the list of supplies or using that list of supplies to go to what you already own, because I'm a big fan of using what you buy, and go and find similar things that are in your stash and do that. A couple people have already pointed out that the collection that I'm using a lot of in March has a very similar vibe and color scheme, and indeed designer, to the flea market collection that I used 5-6 months back. And if you bought a whole bunch of flea market and you haven't used it yet, you could totally use it in March. I'm here for that. But if you like the new version, the difference between the two, they have a very similar color and design vibe, but very different subject matter, like in terms of motifs. So have a look, and you might find that either the one you've got is great going forward or that you want something new. Okay, so you can find all that stuff in the description box. Let's scrapbook. Thank you very much. On we go. Hello, Julie, who can now join us on a Monday. Okay, so we need a sheet of white cardstock today because who am I? And then we need to cut these 6x6 boxes. And then we're going to look at how we can do something a little bit differently. Different. Do something unexpected. Okay, so here's my background paper. Cut that branding strip off because Sarah's here. And hello, one lone little sea monkey. Oh, by the way, PSA, I found my clear phone case. I have a case for my phone now, and I'm going to put it in this special place so I don't lose it again. It's right in front of me in a little organizer. Then I had lost it for about a month. And it was only this weekend. 3 different people that I was talking to were like, why do you not have a case on your phone? Because I lost it like a month ago. And I just thought, no one has mentioned it at all. And then all of a sudden, everybody mentions it. Oh, I should never be trusted with a trimmer. I tell you, what is my problem? I don't know. Okay, better? Yeah, sort of. So 6x6, which also now means I have pieces prepped to do half and half layouts, should I wish. Half and half layouts, you say? You should teach a class on that. I totally have. And you can find a whole bunch of different ways to make layouts with 6x12 boxes as your foundation. It's called half and half. Yeah, anyway. Oh, let's do all of these the same direction so that if I do want to make a half and half page, it's going to be easy. So I'm going to do all of the half cuts on the vertical. Rita says, can I ask if you have ever had to change the blades on your trimmer? She still loves her trimmer. So if you have a trimmer like this, yes, the blades need changing. These are disposable blades and they need changing. The big trimmer that I'm using, because my desk is clean because it's the beginning of the month, is one where I don't change. It's self-sharpening as you cut. And so I've had this baby for how long now? I think I bought it in 2007, and I have never changed the blade. Last one. Julie's changing her trimmer blade right now. The little disposable ones, you can tell when they need to be changed because the edges will start to get feathery rather than a nice clean thing. Also, you can tell when you turn it over. So you can always tell when you turn it over which side you cut on, but if your blade is going blunt, it'll be really obvious because it will have done more denting than cutting. Okay. So if we were going with our standard scheme of quadrant design, we would do this. Okay? But here's what I want to do, which is why I need a background paper. This. Okay? But even that causes a small problem for me. I don't love the central point once I put it on the angle. I know. I found I find the central point fine if I'm doing that direction. But if I put it this direction, I've already made one twist and I just really want to make another change. So what I end up wanting to do is this. Move the center point off the center. Like that. Now I'm going to move stuff around because this then puts this one so much on the side. Would it be better in any of the other spots? No, actually I think it's still fine that way. But I think I'll change it around this way. Yeah. So that is what I mean by what could we do with quadrant design, but give it a little bit of a twist. So we're going to do this, and then the photo is going to go quite near the center. I figured could use this tag that says making. Rita says, too bad they don't sell this big desk trimmer anymore from Fiskars. I know. I don't think I'll get rid of it unless I really can't, like if like if it actually stops working, then obviously I get rid of it. But I do really like it, but they don't have it anymore. And I also love that it's not a guillotine. I am not a fan of guillotine trimmers. I am not to be trusted. Sometimes when people say, oh, you don't like guillotine trimmers because you have a kid in your house. Well, that is a really, really, really good reason to not have a guillotine trimmer, but that's not even it. It's me. The problem, it's me. I can't be trusted with a guillotine trimmer. I very nearly lost some fingers when I was at university and used a guillotine trimmer like for a massive stack of exams for work. And just saw my life flash in front of my eyes. I never want to have that feeling again. And so I do not own anything in a guillotine style, even the tiny little card making one. No, no big open blades. No, thank you. Julie says also they cut crooked, and so yeah, because if you don't hold it exactly in place and it moves with the movement of the blade, that's problematic. But it's a big open blade. This is all contained in a housing, and it's only the the bit that's in the cutting channel. That's like a circular saw. This part of the round blade is covered, and the only part that's open is the bit that's touching the bit that you're cutting. My hands get twitchy just thinking about exposed blades on trimmers. No, thank you. Make them as safe and as idiot-proof as possible, because I will be the idiot. And if I can make it through my entire scrapbooking career with all of my fingers intact, I'll be happy. All right. Elaine says, with the hearts, could we also do less of an angle instead of turning the whole thing quite so far? And you could. So you could do something like this. You could move, especially if it was something more more detailed than a geometric shape like a heart. So if this was the tree paper perhaps, and the trees feel like it needs to go right up and down, then yes, you could do this. Or of course you could cut your 6x6 knowing the angle you're going to take it to. Okay, but I'm going to stick to my 40, almost 45. I suppose, like some people like to scrapbook with a ruler, you could also scrapbook with a protractor, but I'm not. We're good. Okay. Oh, I found my phone case, but the thing I didn't look for or find is, oh, here it is. I was saying, where did I put the black ink? I put it in a safe place when I started my Christmas journal because I was using brown ink and I didn't want to mix them up. I've got the black. I just suddenly went, oh, I wonder if I put them in that safe place. I did. Okay, so we can do black and white edges here. Hello, black ink. It's been like 2 months since I've seen you. Finding my phone case and my black ink all in one day. Julie uses an industrial guillotine trimmer, and she goes really fast, and that one doesn't go crooked, but it freaks her husband out. Elaine says, are we excited for a Taylor album in April? And also, do I feel like I fail at being productive when a woman who is already on one of the biggest world tours ever mounted in the history of the world has somehow managed to put out an album at the same time? Oh, what must it be like in that woman's brain? I'll just do this. Ba-dum-bum. Amazing. Did you see Amy Tangerine was there? How fancy. There's somebody in my Disney sphere of friends that was there too. I was just like, this is really weird. Like, people I know from different walks of life are in the same building with Taylor Swift and other people. Elaine does not do a lot of maths in scrapbooking. I don't either. But what I found was the first time I ever taught in Germany, we laughed about it all weekend because, I mean, this is the stereotype that it sounds completely like what you would expect from the stereotype that the German scrapbookers were big into precision, but they really were. And so when I was saying, okay, you need a box like this, they would go, how many millimeters? And I'm like, I don't know, like this, the width of your hand, and this, it'd be like about like that. And so in the morning class, in the morning class, I suddenly started having to go back to my example layout and measure everything with somebody's millimeter specific ruler, which of course I didn't even have. So I borrowed one of those. And then I could tell them in class, okay, it is this. And I was having to do that on the fly. So then on my lunch break, I went through all the other projects and I put together a list of all the measurements down to the millimeter so that I could make sure I was not triggering anybody's anxiety, because they were all like, but we're really used to scrapbooking with specific measurements, and I don't want it to go wrong. And I had never scrapbooked like that, but I didn't want anybody to feel that, they were too far out of their comfort zone. So I went back at lunch break and made all the measurements and wrote them down, ready for the afternoon class. And do you know what they did at the lunch break? They had a big discussion about, let's try not measuring. Let's try that little bit by a big bit. And so when we came in for the after lunch class, it was hysterical because I was like, right, 13.2 millimeters. And they were like, stop. What? What are you talking about? And it was brilliant fun. We all did something outside our comfort zone. By the end of the weekend, we were all great. Right, so now take your background paper, turn it over, and take off the excess. I'm also going to say, if you like to have things that don't feel like they're exploding off the page. So this design will give some people a little in-between spot. Oh, have we got? Okay, we're back. If I dropped a bit there, let's see if we can pick it up. YouTube gave me a little, I think we're okay. Right, so if you are not a big fan of things going off the edge and it makes you feel a little twitchy, cut this down by 1/2 inch here and 1/2 inch here and put it on a sheet of red or black cardstock so that it has a defined frame. And that way, although it goes off this box here, it doesn't go off the page protector space. And that may help. Some of you will be going, why would this be a problem? And if that's you, then do not worry about that. It's fine. But I know that sometimes just some people will be like, oh, that really just ticks a box in my brain that I don't love. And I want to give you that tip to bring it back to something you can love. Okay. So cut it down 1/2 inch on two sides and then put a 1/4 inch frame all the way around. And chances are you'll feel a little less on edge about it. Brilliant. This is going here. And you know what I think we need? I think we need black cardstock behind this photo. And apparently I thought I'd sing about it. So here's black cardstock. I think the reason I'm singing is in order to find my phone, I didn't just clean my desk, ladies. I cleaned my favorite shelf. Now, when I say I cleaned my favorite shelf, do I mean that I took the stuff that was on the floor behind me and I put it on my bed to deal with later? Yes, I do. But it means I can get to the drawers that are right behind me while I'm scrapbooking without worrying about knocking anything over. And that's kind of fancy. So the magic of the beginning of a month when Shimelle is like, let's tidy it up a little bit before this live stream. Look at me all fancy using a trimmer. So, like this. Now we have this. Hello, Leslie. And we've got some green. How am I going to bring the green in and not make it look Christmassy? Also, this journaling box is actually a little bit bigger than what I imagined. Okay, so what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to make it not a tag. I'm going to take it down to the box. I think that's going to help. This is becoming a bit of a February tradition because I did a grid of, I think, 6 different types of cupcakes that I made for last year's February bake sale. This is much happier. And I might, use that as a tucky somewhere. But yeah, this size, much happier. But yeah, in February 2023's album, there's also a bake sale with a grid of cupcakes. But those photos were 3x4, slightly smaller, and I did like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, if I vaguely remember. But that's in the February 2023 live stream, should you wish to find more ways to scrapbook lots of baking photos or a grid of small photos. Okay, so we're going to go like we often do with quadrant design, even when it's the right way up. We're going to go over that central point because you've heard me talk about rules of 3 a gazillion times, and that there are these lines that we naturally go to. But if you create a pattern that's 4 boxes, your eye will be drawn to the middle where you can see all 4 patterns. So what we want to do is not worry about you seeing all 4 patterns right there at the center. We want you to see what we want you to see. So we're directing the eye by taking whatever is most important and putting it over that point where they all join. Okay, so we are on to something here. Also, I want black edges to these papers that I cut. Could go all the way around on the white. I'm not sure about that yet, so I'm going to try and just do the paper. All right. Let's go to our embellishments. So we have this sticker sheet this month. And this cut apart. And a mug full of die cuts. So do we have anything that specifically needs to come into this one? Just wasn't sure if they're in. We've got teacups and teapots, but we don't have cakes or anything. So if there was a time that I needed to use them, I mean, we could use this strawberry with the sweet. Is there strawberry in any of these? No, but that's all right. It's the right colors. The word makes sense. People from the future who look at this might be like me and think that the jam inside a Jammy Dodger is strawberry and not raspberry. I'm okay with it. So there we go. Oh no, in all our trimmer talk, Julie's managed to cut herself with the teeny tiny little triangle blade that's in here. Be careful, people. I injured myself as a small child with a pencil sharpener, and I now get really twitchy about telling WB not to change the blades in a pencil sharpener, because I was about his age and I had my first like electric pencil sharpener, and then it went blunt, and in the bottom there were spare blades, but I had never handled such a thing. So no, it did not go well. I was fine. I didn't need the hospital or anything, but I was also really embarrassed, so I didn't want to tell anybody. And so I gave him a speech one day, and you would have thought it was like the discussion where you tell your kid if you go to a party and there's drinking and you don't want to be there, it's okay to call mom and she'll come get you and no judgment. It was like that about pencil sharpeners. Don't be embarrassed to change the blade in a pencil sharpener. Please just come and get a grown up, because it's trickier than you think, and it'll make a big mess and you'll feel really bad. Let's just avoid that. I was clearly traumatized, and he was so funny because I got way too serious, and then he was like, "Are you okay?" Yeah, I'm okay. I just don't want you to do that. Okay, so this screen, is it going to be anywhere else? Just looking. Scrapbooking is an extreme sport. Don't you know it? So extreme. Oh, we had this out to talk about packaging, and maybe I just stick it on this layout. We have like a sweet treats layout, but it does not have cake. Just thought I'd reassure you that I'm not skipping any cake embellishments somehow. Even though it's February, I didn't put any cake things in the kit. All right, so die cut wise, what can we do here? Because we've got vellum pieces. Oh, hold on, there might have been a cake piece on the red paper, because remember, it's from a kitchen collection. So let's look at the back. Just in case. No, C is for coffee. Oh, but this C is for cupcake liners. Oh, let's use that. I should have done it over here so that I could still have a red half and half if I wanted, but no. Let's have C is for cupcake liners. Why not? Okay, so we'll have that somewhere. Is that black? Yes, we can have that. I like this one, but I'm not sure where it's going to go. Oh, but it needs to go with that. I hadn't noticed until now, but they are destined to be together. That one. So when I pull out bits and pieces like this, it doesn't mean that they all have to go in. It just means that they could. So I'm pulling out things that could work. This could also work for a journaling card, but I've already got this one, so I don't need it to. I don't need another one. This one could also work, but it's quite big now with everything else I've pulled out, so I'm not going to go for that. I mean, it was an adventure baking 7 dozen cupcakes in one day by 2:30, including an hour-and-a-half live stream. But I'm not going to go with that title. Right. Okay, so let's see what pieces we've got here and how we could arrange them. Oh, we've got this piece too that doesn't fit in my mug. But we could have this pink. Oh, they were perforated. Whoops. Didn't need to cut. It's okay. Watching from a car park outside of Sainsbury's. Sophia, you're amazing. The last time I ever sat still in a car park outside Sainsbury's was when I was still teaching. And I suffered from migraines when I was a kid, but mostly not as an adult. But one day at school, I had the most horrible migraine, one of those headaches where you just think, oh my goodness, the world is imploding in my brain. And not many days I ever got sent home from school, but that day I did. There was no physical way that I could teach. And so I stopped at Sainsbury's on the way home. Looking back, I go, why was I driving? This is a very good question. And I'm not sure why that happened, and I am very grateful that everyone remained safe. But drove the tiny distance home at the time and stopped to get headache medicine, went in, came back out with that and something to drink, sat in the back seat of my car and took the medicine and woke up several hours later to someone bashing on the window going, are you okay? Are you okay? I'm like, oh, actually, I'm fine. But then I thought they're asking if I'm okay because they think like I'm drunk in the back of a car or something, and I was really embarrassed. And I don't know why that's where my brain went, but it did. And then the woman who had banged on the door took me aside really carefully, and she went, if you're being trafficked, you can tell me. You can give me like a double blink or something like that. And I just hugged this woman and went, oh my goodness, no, I'm fine. I had a migraine. But I love that you were here for me in this way right now. You are a saint who lives among us. And yeah, so I was sitting there all embarrassed thinking that this lady has knocked on the door because she thinks that I have some sort of problem other than a migraine. And the problem, she thought, was that I needed to be saved. And I was just like, you are a wonderful person. So I don't know who she is, but she is this a good soul among us. May we all have a moment where we can do good in the world like this. Yeah, city life sometimes a little interesting. That's not something I would ever thought of when I was growing up in a small town. And now I'm like, oh, but why would I have not thought of things like that living in a small town? Sheltered life, I'm sure, does not mean that these things aren't there. Whew, it was an emotional day. But the next day I felt fine. I had the migraine went with the medicine and it was all good. And I haven't had them like that ever again. Don't know what upset my head so much that day, but it was not fun. Anyway, but yeah, the lady, she gave me a very big hug, and she was like, "Okay, you're all good." Like, oh, good. Thank you so much. All right. Elena says, Sainsbury's has a place in her heart because it was the grocery store she went to for the 2 months that she lived in London during college back in 1992. Yes, there's certain little things in British culture that if you're only here for a little while, they stick with you, or when you first come here, they might stick with you. When I first moved to England, the supermarket near me was a Safeway in one direction and a Sainsbury's the other way. But the Sainsbury's is a bit more expensive, but it had a lot more stuff than the Safeway. So like you felt like you were pushing a boat out if you went to the Sainsbury's, where Safeway was like the student budget choice. Yeah. And it was my first experience with a corner shop, having grown up in the countryside and then going to a little college town. We didn't have corner shops where I grew up. And they're very much a part of British culture, even in smaller villages and things, you have a corner shop. And, it was wild. And the person at the corner shop kind of knows all about you and stuff like that. I like this on top of that. I really like this, but I don't want to lose the butterfly. Okay, but I like this here. And the corner shop where I was at university, they came to realize that I kind of adopted my neighbor's cat. I fully adopted my neighbor's cat in that they stopped taking care of it and I took it with me with permission when I left college or university. Yeah, so because at first I didn't know what kind of food the cat would eat. So I was going into the corner shop and buying like one of all different flavors of cat food. But I was on a student budget and I didn't know if the cat would get taken back by somebody who actually owned it, because at this point in time when I was trying to figure out what it would eat, I was like just in the early days, I didn't know if it would disappear and go back to its home. So I was buying like 1 or 2 pots of food, but a different flavor every time. And the lady at the corner shop was like, honey, are you buying food for that black and white cat? And I said, yeah, but I don't know what it eats. And some of them, it just like, the cat just turns its nose up, and some of them it eats it instantly. And she takes me over to the shelf and she's like, it likes these 3. I'm like, okay, so where does it belong? She's like, that part I don't know. But everybody has bought, every student who's lived in your house has bought food for this cat over the years. So there we go. And then I adopted the cat because there weren't students moving in straight away, and I'd fallen in love with the cat. And so then had to contact the RSPCA, which is like animal rights group in this country, to say, what do? I have accidentally adopted a cat and I'm moving away. Do I take it? Do I leave it? So there we go. I got permission and had semi-legal advice on the subject. So I had to give notice to say in writing what day I was leaving, where I was going, and that I was intending to take the cat because I had been paying to, I'd given the cat food and vet visits and all of this. And should you wish to come claim your cat, this is your deadline. No one came to claim the cat. Well, this layering is quite lovely and fun. I am enjoying. What's going to fit up here? This needs to have something to go with it. Oh, and I wanted to bring this green tab back in. So this one, oh, if it goes over here, oh, it's so close. Let's just move the envelope. Yes, Leslie says the corner shops up north, where you're like the people at the till, they call you love or chicken or sweetheart as well as your name. And that, as somebody who's moved away from all that, it gives her all the feels. I can totally hear that. Yeah, or pet. Yep. You have to watch a whole bunch of, oh, what's her name? Oh, here we are, my brain forgetting what famous people are called again. Hold on. YouTube gives me Sarah Millican. There we go. Thank you. I didn't even have to look it up. I just had to go to start to look it up, and then I knew. Yeah, Sarah Millican calls everybody pet, poppet, all of these things. And it's adorable and wholesome. Although I did find out at one point in time that there are a lot of people who are really bothered by it. But I think it's very sweet and endearing, so I'm okay with it. Obviously, don't keep saying it to somebody who doesn't like it. I think that's kind of the rule. But I like it when people are like, you're all right there, puppet. Elena loves Sarah Millican. She's brilliant. Although some of her YouTube clips have quite racy titles. And so sometimes YouTube will send me a notification and I think, ooh, that is not a family-friendly thing to pop up on my screen like that, YouTube. But she's just very real life. And that's adorable. Yeah. I love her mannerisms. And when I did Couch to 5K, I had her as the voice. Because I didn't want somebody who was like super athletic. I wanted somebody like Sarah Millican. Pet is very northeast, says Elaine. Yeah. Yep. Okay, so bring this green. Oh, punch a hole in it. Then bring it over them. Oh, flower. Yes. Sarah Millican calls men flower, which is really funny. I just realized I didn't make a sketch for this, so I'm going to make one just so that you can have it for reference, should it make you feel better. Be helpful. Hello, Puppet reminds Vicky of Pirates of the Caribbean. That's never a bad thing in this house. Some of Pirates of the Caribbean is filmed down the hill from us, and so and of course it's not meant to be down the hill. It's meant to be a different place. The spot where they do lots of filming down the hill has been so many different places. It's been France, it's been other planets, it's been old-timey south coast of England. It's just been all these different places. But it's the Royal Naval College down the hill. So anytime somebody starts talking about Pirates of the Caribbean, I just keep imagining, because when they were filming it, it was just mayhem down there. You'd like walk down the hill and there'd just be trucks and cranes, sometimes helicopters, because this was kind of pre-drone for overhead shots now. Things that get filmed near us, you don't tend to get as many helicopters because they do a lot more of the overhead shots by drone these days. But just the vibe of them filming, they have filmed probably 20 films there in the time that I've lived here, and it was only pirates that you walked down and it was like there was a giant party and you were not invited. And you were like, what is that? Why is everyone just like so energetic at 8 o'clock in the morning? Yeah, that was pirates. Okay, so photo on the horizontal. Look at me faking a landscape picture. A journaling box over here. Some tuckies behind here, more tuckies over here. Then we've got the quadrants. So they are going here. Like that. So we're going to put the title down here. And we're just going to mix in some embellishments with the tuckies. There we go. If you want to screen grab that sketch, there's your twist. Literally, just twist the quadrants and put them on another sheet. Okay. Yes, Elaine says, the names like that are dying out because it's not PC. And I think because there's two different ways that words like that have been used. So it's one thing when someone who does not feel intimidating in any sort of way says, oh, love, you all right? Do you need help, darling? Versus someone who does feel a bit intimidating to you, calls you love or darling. That feels very wrong. And those two things are very different, but they're the same words. And this is where language gets very, very complicated in saying, you know, like, oh, we should just get rid of that. Because who's to say what feels intimidating and what doesn't? Yeah. So I can totally see why it's happening, and I see why some people would not feel comfortable with it. But also I can understand how some people would think, oh, but I've always done that, and what have I done wrong? You haven't necessarily done anything wrong. But some people have ruined the fun. Shell says, she's home today because her twins have fevers. Usually she's working with preschoolers, and we call everyone friend because friend is considered neutral. Yeah, I like that. Was one thing I found when kind of Instagram became more community filled, that my scrapbooking community people tended to talk as if the audience was entirely women. So they would say things like girls or ladies and things like that. And the Disney community, which is not 99% female, they would say friends, hello friends. So like, you know, if you did a face the camera and talk on Instagram stories, the scrappy people might say more, and this is not all of the time, just, you know, what I was noticing was there were more scrapbooking people who would say things like, hello scrappers, hello scrapbookers, that sort of thing, being very specific, or hello ladies, how are we girls, that sort of thing, versus the Disney community, like hello friends was standard across the board. And I don't know how it caught on really quickly, but all of a sudden it was everywhere and it was okay. Yeah. Julie says, raised in the American South, and we could make you uncomfortable in a hurry with darling, sugar, honey. Yeah. Yep. It's words are hard in many ways. I think his account name is Etymology Nerd. Is that what it is? On Instagram. Let me see if I can find it here. If that's not his account name and I've just made it that, I'm really embarrassed. No, he is called Etymology Nerd. Phew. Okay. So yeah, and there's no the. It's just Etymology Nerd. Is that the right account? Yes, okay, that is the right account that I'm thinking of. So he has a linguistics degree from Harvard. So American, but not just somebody with a hobby interest, someone who has studied this a lot. And his Instagram content is 2 different styles that are really interesting. So if you look at just his post feed, it's all these kind of infographics that break down things about word histories or local vernaculars and things like that. But the reels that he does don't show up on the post. They're kept separate. So you then go to the Reels tab. He has these videos where he talks to the camera about different changes in language or things like that. Like, so his most recent one is why you find accents attractive. And he did one, the one that just got me so much was he did one about the word gaslighting. And oh my goodness, I'm just going to turn the camera on and talk for a second, then I'll go back to scrapbooking. So I had to show this video to WB because I wanted to know if he could find this funny yet. So the guy behind this account does a talking to the camera video about gaslighting and what it means, but he tells you that the definition you have is wrong. And as he's telling you, the lighting behind him is going darker and darker and darker and darker. And he's getting more and more enthusiastic in telling you that your understanding is wrong. And it always has been, and everybody knows it. And it was just a brilliant way of explaining how gaslighting happens, because he was gaslighting you on the definition of gaslighting. And I wanted to know if WB could catch it, because I have a vested interest in making sure that my child grows up understanding linguistic things that specifically that are misogynistic. And I don't want these things to go unnoticed, so I talk about them a lot. So I wanted to see if he could catch it. And oh my goodness, he could not stop laughing. But the funniest bit was he went, "Can I watch it one more time so that I can take in every word?" Because he talks really fast. And so I let him watch it again. And then he could not stop laughing. He's like, "That's the best explanation I've ever seen." And I'm like, a 9-year-old can tell you what gaslighting is because of this 30-second video. I love it. So yes, I really love his account. But it does talk a lot about like current changes in language and stuff. And then he'll throw in something that's like tracking etymology back all the way to, its original form in this language and how it will have gone through lots of variations. So it's a nice balance. Anyway, I think it's a cool account if you like words and you're nerdy about it. Yes, and he does mention that his definition of gaslighting is coming from the movie. So that's why the light is changing. Yeah, it's a brilliant reel. Really, really good short form video. So nice. Okay, so I have the green here. I have the green here. I have this tiny little strip. I think we have to put it over here. Because that's all of the rest of the green that I have. Do I want to save these for another time, or do I want them now? Pumpkin. Oh, pumpkin for pumpkin. We still say that in our house. And WB, I was inking the wrong side. WB got to a point where he didn't say it anymore. And then realized and tried to go back to it because it's just a cute inflection of the word pumpkin to say pumpkin. But not as a term of endearment, just as a word. Yeah. I find when I'm photographing children, I use more terms of endearment, and then I have to be careful that I don't call like total strangers darling, because it might make them uncomfortable. Trying to not be an intimidating person. But sometimes part of taking pictures of kids for, like, not just random in the street, when it's my job to take pictures of kids. Oh, Shimelle, you're not doing a great job here with words. I'm going to tuck that underneath. Yes, I am. Part of taking pictures of kids is making them feel awesome and comfortable and stuff so that you can get them into a shot and not have them, you can see someone is uncomfortable in a photo. Yeah. So I don't know why I put this down first. Clearly, I'm silly. So I tend to overdo it quite easily on calling people cute little names because I'm trying to make sure that you feel welcome and at ease and all of these things, and you're not scared of my big camera. Do a lot of looking for the frog in the lens, or whatever your kid really likes. Quite a lot of them like to look for a frog. I don't know why. Some like to see if there's a teeny, teeny, tiny dinosaur, and I'm here for that too. This one's going over here. Sherry's here. Hello. Oh yeah. Sherry just like at a glance freaking us out because she's saying she's got kids to get ready for school. Sherry doesn't normally have kids to get ready for school. She just found some on the street. But no, I remember now. She's on niece and nephew duty, yes? While their parents are away. I also like the idea that maybe you just found some on the street. It's fine. You were like, I'll take care of these kids. Oh, yes. I don't think that's a problem. Corey says she admits she errs on terms of endearment online instead of using real names. Well, we know I don't use real names here. So Corey's kids online are Kid and Lovebug to the rest of the world, which is adorable. Yeah. Terms of endearment are always cool as long as the person you're using it to is fine with it. That's the tricky bit. Okay, I know this is shocking, but I almost want to put a Brad in this. Do I even own any Brads? I think I might have a few. I don't know why my brain has just gone, let's get some Brads. But it has. So let's see what we can do to make my brain happy. Well, I have, oh, do I have any of those pearl Brads that I love so much? In pink. I have silver. I have white. That might work. But oh, I have pink. I have pink. My brain knew what it was doing. These. So we put the butterfly on with that. Yeah? Yeah. I know. I'm just here to throw it back for us. Should I put in a campaign to bring these back? I absolutely love this as an embellishment. It's one of the only things that will make me risk small, sharp, pokey embellishment things. Okay, so I want this to sit in there. And we're going to poke a hole in the middle of that. Channeling 2002 today, apparently. Yeah, why not? Brits who weren't crafting back in the day. We call these paper fasteners in this country. But in the craft industry, oh, here. Don't do what I just did. Put this in between. The thing you use to poke your holes with, use that. Don't ask me how I know. Right. So I got my butterfly in 2 places. I got my green in 3 places. Stickers. I haven't even used any stickers. Let's use some stickers. Risking life and limb again. Yeah. Sophia said, my sparkly friend used Brads not infrequently. So that she knew what brads were called. That's hilarious. Okay. What are we going to do here? I kind of want to bring in the teapots, but they're not the right color, so I won't. There's no butterflies here. There is a bit of red. Because here, yeah. Okay. Was that, oh, there, I was going to say, is that all of the red? There's a red flower, cutie, I heart you, and obviously this love. There's bring your own sunshine. I like that one. Oh, explain, Sarah. Sarah says, Simple Story does brads now without the dangerous bit, and they're quite nice. How can you have a brad without the dangerous bit? Please explain. You know, I'm going to do that label the bug in a box thing again. Anytime I put a butterfly on a page and then I put a phrase sticker underneath it, all I think is my sister's bug collection growing up. She was big into bugs. Okay, and then I was going to have that red flower here. And I've got some strawberries that match that, so let's put those in too. How many do I have? 3. 1, 2, 3. This needs something up here. Sticky backed, no prongs. Okay, I'm gonna have to order a pack of these sticky backed Simple Stories strawberries, brads, not strawberries, and have a look. Because I don't know. I find it hard to imagine. So it's just this top bit and the back is a sticker. Okay, I can't imagine that. Put a tiny dot behind that. Oh, actually it's not as tiny as I was imagining. Need to. Okay. Oh, and there's this strawberry element. Let's have that too. Oh, that could go in here. I'm looking for something to go to the left of that cupcake box. So it could be this. No, let's do it that way. And what could sit behind there? Some gold foil. So those 3 in a little glassine envelope, but you could just leave the envelope out. It was on the desk from Illustrating a Point the other day, and I just decided I'm going to throw it on the layout. It's easier than putting it away. Okay, title, confetti, finish. Now, here's my letter stickers. Jana puts a glue dot behind the Simple Stories brads. And Sarah points out that they just say brads on the package. So if you're expecting the Pokey Bits because it says brads, you're not going to get them. Okay. You're going to open the package and be like, oh, there are no Pokey Bits here. This is a sticker. All right. So we have to word of mouth explain to all the scrapbookers that it's different now. That's all right. That's all right. Sophia finds it interesting that she's heard people have issues with flair rusting over time, which I have, but not heard the same with brads, and they were a thing before flair. Does it mean they're made of different metals? I think it must do. Now, there were certainly other embellishments that predated flair that did rust. Straight pins. Making Memories had a whole line of metal embellishments, and some of them rusted and some of them did not. Some of them rusted, the straight pins, they rusted while they were still in the package. And so I'm not sure, like it must have just been a really quick to sale kind of product where sometimes when you are working with a factory, they'll be like, well, there's this thing that we already know how to make. And so then you just put it in new packaging. And I wonder if it was something like that where they were like, okay, so we're doing these different metal embellishments. And then the factory's like, oh, well, we have these metal embellishments that already exist. Do you want some of these? And they said, yes. And then it all came really fast. And that's how we ended up with a product that was going rusty as soon as it arrived. I don't know. Muse thinks the metal that's in brads must have a coating type thing. Yeah. Sophia has only had issues with flare from one source and others have been fine. And we obviously have a humid climate here in England. Yeah, I've had problems with more than one source, but not all. So as I go through my albums, I'll be like, oh, do I need to pull that out? And sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Right, enamel dots. I have enamel dots in this kit, right? Yes. Oh, yeah, they're here. It's because I was imagining the Simple Stories ones because we've been talking about Simple Stories embellishments. It's this kind. It's this kind. Okay. So let's work out. Let's have some pink. Now, this set of enamel dots really wants me to like things in groups of 2. I'm going to try. I did it on the last page. I'm doing it here. But I find it a little difficult. Not going to lie. All right, and then we could go in with leaves, but I don't think that's what we need here. We do, however, need gold, which is here. Anne has a question. Oh no, it's the YouTube channel that I was talking about with the video about gaslighting. It's not YouTube, it's Instagram. And he's called Etymology Nerd. All one word. Oh, Sarah thought the metal embellishments were rusting because people use wet glue on them. No, because I'm team no wet glue. If I'm putting wet glue on something, you know I'm desperate because none of my dry glues have worked. I do have that scrapbook.com artists. It's like artist, but without the T at the end. Artists. And it is a really nice wet glue, but a bit like guillotine trimmers, it's just not my thing. So I will use everything else first if I can. Okay. Now, for the record, I do think, because there's more pink than red, that idea of cutting down by a 1/2 inch and mounting it on a sheet of red could be really nice. But I did not do that. But I think it would be really lovely. You could also put it on that olive green if you wanted to bring that in. Or you could put it on black. Like, you could frame it with any number of colors and it would be all great. Then I'm going to add a little bit more to this title. I'm trying to figure out exactly how. I might stamp or write something here. I don't want to do it until I've done the journaling in case I need this box. If I don't, then I'll put the little bit of extra to the title here. If I do, I'll put the little bit of extra title here in this space, which means I would put it in a different kind of lettering than what could show up here. Because here I could even handwrite it or stamp it, but here it's going to need to be stickers that are going to go to work with that. Make sense? Okay, so that's everything for today. Quadrants with a little twist. I hope you have enjoyed, and if you did and you want to give this video a thumbs up, that'd be super duper awesome. So here's a little Valentine-y heart for that. Yeah, I hope you've had a great day. Now, times that you can find me live this week. So if you just watch stuff that's here on the channel, I'll be live again Friday morning at 10 a.m. I can even tell you what we're going to do. We are going to we're going to do stencils in grid composition, and it's going to use 3 square photos. Then if you are in this year's story, there will be live videos for you in the class forum tomorrow at 1:30 and Wednesday at 1:30. And of course, you can come back and watch those anytime. You do not have to be live in order to watch them. So you can still sign up for this year's story if that's something that you want to see how the pages that I make here then end up in my album and fill out the story. So right now in this year's story, I'm finishing up January. So you get kind of the bridging from what I've made in the live stream videos to how my album actually looks for January, and I take you through all of the little steps along the way so that you can see it all finished. And then I will carry on doing that. And the idea being that if this new format works, then that's something I can carry on. If everybody hates it, then obviously not. But at the moment, it's looking positive. So I'm going to finish all of the January content in that format and then evaluate. Cool? Right. I hope you have a wonderful week and that I see you sometime soon. Don't hurt yourself with any guillotine trimmers or pencil sharpeners or sentiments of endearment. Good plan? Have a great one. See you soon. Bye.